The last conference of this day was such a breath of fresh air, and this, funnily enough, was not the Nintendo conference. That came the day after. This was the Sony conference, and wow, what a turnaround.
I can hear the angels singing in heaven. My God, when Jack Tretton walked onto that stage, we knew that things were about to be good. We didn't expect them to be this good, though, I don't think.
And there's a lot to cover here, so I'm just going to run through, and you two can interject as I go through. Batman Arkham Origins looks nice. Roger Craig Smith as the new voice of Batman, and Troy Baker as the voice of Joker, both doing a fine job. Gameplay looks fun. Definitely improved over Asylum and City, I think, but I definitely need to see more of it.
I mean, I was never a big fan of the sort of Batman games in general, but that, you know, like you say, the voice acting was solid, the gameplay looked pretty solid as well, so... a good start. Good start.
No interest in Batman games.
Oh, Spar, why are you even here?
I've been asking myself that question for an hour.
He's here for the last part, Tom.
Yes, he is. Counter Spy?
I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Killzone looks nice, but ever since I played the demo for the original Killzone, it completely killed any interest I would have in the series.
Yeah, I quite like Killzone. The first one has a very special place in my heart because the physics during multiplayer is the funniest shit known to man. Like, you shoot a guy point blank with a shotgun over a rock, and he will flap his arms like he was Octodad. It's amazing. Seriously, the physics engine in the original Killzone multiplayer is atrocious, but that's what makes it good. Like, just people glitching through walls, buildings, rocks, everything. It was beautiful.
I should probably add this was all part of a sizzle reel. This is what kicked off the conference.
Yeah, they just kind of threw games at us, which was a bit, whoa. But, yeah, and then I played a bit of Killzone 3 multiplayer, so I'm interested in this, but I'm gonna wait a bit and see what happens, because, you know, fancy explosions only get you so far.
Then they showed stuff like Tearaway, God of War, Flower, FF10 HD, 10.2 HD, Walking Dead coming to Vita. Good game. Don't really care about the system it's on. Puppeteer was shown. Looks great.
And so you mentioned Tearaway as well, and Tearaway looks really good. Like the idea of sort of peeling back bits of paper and, you know, rolling them up and throwing them at things. Like, the idea of it being on the sort of dual touchscreen system worked really well. It was one of the few cases of a Vita game I've seen that would use that system quite well. So I was interested in that, to say the least.
Puppeteer seems like an interesting concept. I'm looking to see what that's got.
Rain was revealed. A very artistic-looking game. Something like I would have created, but, you know, they got there first.
I actually saw a bit extra about Rain, and the concept of it is actually quite impressive. You play sort of two children, you play a boy and a girl, and they go through, I believe it was a mirror or something, but you go through this portal and they actually become invisible. They're not ghosts or anything, but they become invisible. And the reason the game's called Rain, and the whole theme of it, is because the only way you can see them is by the rain bouncing off their skin and their clothes. That's how you could see them, you could see the outlines. And like, enemies will only appear in the rain for that exact reason. And the concept of having to rely on the weather, actually sort of clicked in my head and went, actually, that sounds pretty good. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that.
It's a new IP with an idea that hasn't been seen before, and that's the type of new IP you want.
Yeah.
You know, not something that just dresses up an old concept, you know, with like a new shirt and trousers and so on. Just something completely new. Beyond, the new game from Quantic Dream. Or as I call it, The Chronicles of Ellen Page.
Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe.
Looks good graphically. Not sure how it's going to play out, especially having actually played Indigo Prophecy now. So, you know, fingers crossed that it's going to be a good one. Gran Turismo 6 looks decent. No opinion on it, really. Then they properly showed off Arkham Origins, and that has exclusive content, which is just a couple of Batman skins, really. One of the big things about the Sony conference was that they showed off the actual PS4 design. And
it looked pretty good. Like, the size of it, I mean, it was obviously you couldn't really tell from the way he was holding it, but it was shown again later, kind of a comparison. And it's substantially smaller than the PS3, actually, the original PS3 model. And, of course, smaller than the Xbox One as well. But it's a parallelogram, which I can't say properly. So, always good.
How I described it, again, on the Twitters, is Imagine if a cable box had sex with a PS2 Slim.
Yeah, sounds pretty accurate to me, yep.
My reaction is basically just, it's a black box. What else were you expecting?
Yeah, pretty much.
It will sit next to my PS2 Slim, and I will play good games. That's all I really care about at the end of the day. The fact that it looks better than the Xbox One, you know, just in terms of aesthetics, has nothing to do with anything, really.
Who bases their console purchase on looks, seriously?
Okay, The Order.
This is a game I'm quite interested in. It's The Order, I believe it's 1866, I think is the full title. But it's Yodie London, it's steampunk, it's... Apparently, it looked like a zombie game from what we saw, but apparently it's actually a werewolf game. So instead of zombie hordes, you get good old werewolves. And, yeah, it was...
Wait, zombie whores?
Hordes,
I was gonna say.
Hordes. Shut up, alright? I speak into English, alright? And yeah, there was, you know, like I said, it was very steampunk. There was brass, there was cogs, there was electrical weapons that fired plasma at shit. And my eyes just went, oh my god, I love it. So, I am quite interested in it, but, they didn't show much, 'cause it was just a, you know, like a CG teaser, with a climatic ending of something leaping at the screen, like every other horror game advert ever existed. But no, the concept, like I said, interests me quite a lot, so I will definitely be keeping an eye on it, but I'll need to see more before I kind of cement a purchase.
I have no real opinion on this, really. It didn't really do anything for me.
Werewolf sounds interesting since we don't see that a lot. I can't really see it being that much different than zombies, though, overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be the same kind of idea, but, again, it's something new, so, yeah, and it's ye olde London. What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, let's just skip through a few more of these. Killzone Shadowfall shown, looks decent. Drive Club was shown. Which really the only thing I remember about Drive Club nowadays is the guy who talks like this and really likes cars. I mean, oh, yeah, I really, really like cars.
You can feel the metal as you step in the car and put your bum on the seat. Oh, look at the dashboard. Oh.
Stop it, please stop it. I don't think it has any reason to exist with Gran Turismo 6 coming out, but, you know, more power to you if you like racing games.
There is a PlayStation Plus exclusive version, so if you buy PlayStation Plus on the PS4, you get a free version of Drive Club, which has, like, a few sort of limited features, but is essentially still a man stepping into a car and essentially, yeah, doing things with the leather.
Infamous Second Son.
That looks good. When I first saw it, I was a bit, but then we saw this trailer, and the guy seems kind of like a, you know, bit of a little shit, so...
A bit of a lovable douche, as it were.
A bit of a bastard, but, I really like him, like, he seems like a good character, and the gameplay seems pretty good, like, you have a chain around your wrist now, so you can kind of hit people with that, or Ghost Rider-esque, and, it looked really nice. Like I said, the way they presented it seemed pretty good.
I've never played any of the Infamous games, I guess it looks fun, Spar?
Same, never played them. Might pick it up, might rent it.
The new game from Mark Cerny was shown, Knack, and you know, this is the guy who helped make games like Crash Bandicoot and so on, so there's going to be a little bit of Crash in there. Combat-wise, a bit like God of War as well. I don't know how deep the combat is, though. You can absorb various elements like ice, maybe fire and so on, and gain new powers. But once you finish a level, you'll just, like, revert to Knack's, like, small form, his regular form. And that's for reasons pertaining to the story, which haven't been revealed yet, so, you know, take that as you will. It sort of looks interesting, but at the same time it very much looks like a launch title, which, you know, it is. It's not the best looking PS4 game either, which just adds to the launch title feel, as it were. I'll probably at least rent it when I get a chance, but other than that, it's not really doing that much for me at the moment.
It doesn't feel that, you know, it doesn't quite have that depth that you'd expect from that kind of game. It seems a bit sort of, oh shit, we need something to put out at launch. This looks good.
Yeah, I don't have much interest in it overall. MBM went crazy about it when he saw it during the console reveal.
Next up is, I guess you could call it a tech demo from me, David Cage. It is the Dark Sorcerer. There is an old guy. He is doing dark magic with his little elf friend. And then, boom, he is an actor doing mocap for a video game. It is brilliant, fresh art. David Cage.
Your French accent varied from exceedingly stereotypical to not bad to pretty good, and then shockingly stereotypical again. That's impressive, Tom.
Pure NTom, ladies. But no, I was extremely impressed with at least the graphics of the Dark Sorcerer tech demo. I'm not sure if it's going to be an actual game, but I laughed my ass off at the actual twist, which is something I can't say happens very often with these types of comedic trailers.
It was just the moment when he when it was right in the moment, and then you suddenly just hear shit, and it just cuts to a studio, and it's all green screen and stuff. That was so well done.
But no, I think Mr. Cage and Quantic Dream are going to have a pretty good time with the PS4, so good luck to him.
Oh, yes.
Next up is Transistor, a game I can't remember a single thing about. Was it that one that was like kind of top-down, kind of 2D?
It's from the same people that made Bastion. It's from Supergiant Games. And yeah, it's an isometric view. It doesn't play quite like Bastion, but it has a sort of the same art style, which looks gorgeous, by the way.
I played Bastion for all of 2 minutes, not really suited to my CTR. A big-ass monitor doesn't fit very well, so it's kind of hard for me to play. My fault, not the game's. Great style, great narration. You know, everyone goes on about that narrator, but that voice is sublime. Music's great. What I played gameplay-wise was pretty fun. So, yeah, I imagine Transistor's going to be, not a hit, but I imagine it'll do marginally well.
I never played Bastion, and I don't know anything about it, so I don't really have anything to add to this.
Fuck, Spar!
I don't remember the trailer either.
Well, moving on. This is quite a big thing, actually. Indies can now self-publish on the PlayStation 4. Compare that to the Xbox One, where you need not only a publisher, but at least $10,000, I've heard.
Really? Good grief. Yep. I mean, when they kind of threw the whole, indie thing out there, we were just like, well played.
Moving on, Mercenary Kings was shown. This was, they had all the indies come out, and they had kind of like an indie sizzle reel now. So I don't remember anything about that. Probably one of the biggest surprises of the show was the fact that Octodad 2 was shown.
Oh, yes.
What a delightful surprise to see a game like Octodad make it. To basically a stage where maybe not millions, but thousands of people are watching. Thousands of people that didn't know about Octodad now know about it. So the sequel's chances of selling more have just gone up.
And they got console exclusivity as well on PS4. You'll still be able to get it on PC, but as far as consoles go, it's PS4 exclusive, which is great. And sorry, just a little thing about Mercenary Kings, because I remember a little bit of it. It's from the same guys that did the Scott Pilgrim video game. And it's got the same sprite artist. I don't think it's got the same musicians, unfortunately. But no, it's sort of Metal Slug, Contra-esque, side-scrolling shooting. It looks quite good.
Oh, I remember now, yeah. I was thinking to myself, this looks exactly like Contra, if done by, the team who did Scott Pilgrim.
Hey, that's essentially what it is, yeah.
Okay, Secret Ponchos, Raise the Dead. Actually, that Raise the Dead thing looks pretty cool, where you actually have to, get your own zombie army. And I think you have to figure out why you died and so on.
That sounds quite cool, actually, yeah.
Don't know anything about it. I think I missed the indie reel for this part.
Which is a shame, because indies had a big presence at this conference, and most, if not all of what they showed looked pretty interesting. They chose a very particular set of indie games to show off, a nice bit of variety and whatnot.
I mean, they had, I think it was 11 they had on stage. They kind of stretched it into around the entire stage. And each person was playing their game and things like that. And it looked very good just to see all these indie titles just there on the PS4, which was impressive.
And I think that abridged video said it best. Get into bed with us and we'll treat you like a princess. Last indie game that was shown was Oddworld New and Tasty. My god, that game looks good.
Nice HD reimagining of the first Oddworld game. Completely updated models, textures, text, everything redone. Loved that game as a kid. Love that game now. Cannot wait to see how that's going to do.
Originally, I was kind of off-put from it because in the original, the way the screen transitions, it's basically like the old Zelda games. You know, it judders for a second and then it just like slides to the next screen.
Yeah.
Here they basically made it seamless. So obviously, there's a few puzzles here and there that you actually have to readjust because of this. But for the most part, it looks extremely faithful and it looks great. It really does.
They've given it a top-notch treatment. Really, it looks. You know, like I say, it looks like it plays pretty much exactly the same way. So they've not touched the gameplay, they've not touched the puzzles as far as they can. But it looks gorgeous, really, for what it is, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, quite frankly.
Never played Oddworld, but I definitely want to pick this up if I get a PS4. It looks very good.
You really should, mate. It's a puzzle platformer, and it is known for being pretty damn hard. And if you're going for saving all the Maduckans, like I did in the Apes Odyssey playthrough with Great Zombie Run, then yeah, you're going to have to use an FAQ.
Oh, yeah, so I tried doing it for stream. No, it did not happening, because it's the other nice thing about it's got an incredibly dark sense of humour. It's brilliant.
Diablo 3 exclusive content? Don't care, moving on. Okay, then they said, oh, Tetsuya Nomura has a message for the fans, and it's like, there is no news of FF13 Versus to show at this conference, but stay tuned, we'll have some more news for you in the coming days. And as he was saying that, the Square Enix logo was slowly fading into view, and I was like, you son of a bitch!
You had me for all of 20 seconds, you fucker.
You magnificent fuck, Nomura! And they showed off FF13 Versus. It looks great. I can't wait to play it, because basically, it's, you know, Final Fantasy done in a Kingdom Hearts style. You know, it's action RPG and so on, which, if I had to point out a subgenre of RPG that I like the most, it would be, you know, action RPG. So yeah, it looks great, but the biggest surprise wasn't the fact that it was actually shown at the conference, it's the fact that FF Versus 13 is now Final Fantasy 15. They've made it a mainline title.
That curveball came out of fucking nowhere. I mean, it was nice the way they did it on the trailer, because it was kind of like, I can't remember the exact quote, but they used a quote that said like, oh yeah, you know, that kind of universe has changed spiel kind of thing. And then suddenly the logo exploded, came back again, FF15, and I remember distinctly the entire crowd went what I can only describe as fucking apeshit. And I think we all did too. Yeah, I cannot wait for that. I've been eagerly waiting for something on Versus 13 to come out ever since they showed the first trailers. And to look at the gameplay and to look at how it plays. Like, there's one specific moment that I absolutely adore. They're taking on this pretty big monster with a fairly sizable sword. And what the character you play as does is he kind of stabs this guy in the hand, so he drops the sword. And then you've got two teammates with you. So one of them kind of keeps shooting at him and keeping him distracted, whereas the other guy, who's sort of the bulkier one, helps you to lift up his sword and slam it right through his ribs, and he explodes in a fiery ball of mess because the main guy, Noctis, not only helps this guy throw a sword through his ribs, casts a quick fire spell at him as well. It's just, you know, the fact that it looks like it's so focused on teamwork and using the three guys to your advantage is superb. We haven't seen anything quite like that since sort of FF12, really. That was kind of a really good way of using teamwork, but just the way it feels and the way it looks, and I could go on and on and on and on.
It looks like it plays great, it looks great, period. It's a great looking game.
Really ramped up the effects on it, and the whole, you know, the signature move of Noctis being able to warp to his swords and things like that. It looked fast, it looked furious, it looked fun as fuck. So, cannot wait to get on that.
Open world as well.
Yes, which is always good. No
corridors here.
And they've renamed it so it's not connected to 13 with the corridors.
Fantastic. Because at this point, FF13 and FF13 Versus were so different in terms of, you know, tone and such, that it would be kind of stupid to, release it as FF Versus 13. And as I heard on one reaction video, and you'll probably be able to guess which one it is, the guy said that's why he doesn't have any news for FF Versus 13, because it's been renamed to FF15. And then they had one more trailer to show. I'll just give you a breakdown of how it went for me. Oh look, it's it's showing KH1. It's got to be, you know, just a simple advertisement for 1.5,
yeah,
even though it's pretty much out. Then it showed KH2, which is not part of 1.5. I was like, Okay, they're advertising 2.5. Then Dream Drop Distance shows up. Then they show what looked like a little bit of Dream Drop Distance's CGI opening. And then Sora, wearing his KH2 outfit, picks up Ericus's Keyblade, and then the logo for Kingdom Hearts 3 appears!
And everyone goes crazy, and I could hear the crowd.
Oh yeah, you could hear the crowd. The trailer was pretty loud, but you could hear the mass hysteria that room had. I think what happened was, at that point in time, they'd gone, yeah, I'm pretty sold on this console. Holy shit, I want it now! Like somebody did sort of a compilation of all the KH3 reactions, and you can see people sort of going, oh my god, it's Disney. Like you did Spar. It's just like, oh my god, it's Disney. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then suddenly you just hear everyone crying and screaming, Kingdom Hearts 3! And that's essentially the reaction we had.
Oh my god, and, the footage they showed, extremely basic. It wouldn't look out of place as a top-tier PS3 title right now, but it is in development. It's only going to get better from here. A few details that were announced via a live stream that Nomura held for FF15 and KH3 afterwards revealed a few details. One of which is they're going to use unique shaders. That's graphic shaders for each world to get the world,
which is pretty cool.
To get them looking closer to their original source material. So, say they go to, I don't know, if they revisit Hunchback of Notre Dame world, the unique shaders would allow, just the world to graphically look like Hunchback. They got pretty close with Dream Drop Distance, but it still looked in line with the other worlds in the game. Summons are back.
You can see in the trailer there's an MP bar, so we might actually not get the command deck.
Well, you say that, but that was an extremely obvious mock-up, I think, because the Donald and Goofy things were there, but they weren't shown to be running along through Twilight Town with Sora.
From what I can tell, it was, pre-rendered CGI stuff, but it didn't look like it. It was, in one hand it looked like it was obvious CGI, but at the same time, you can imagine it not being out of place. Like, if the game looked like that at the end, I would be more than happy. I mean, just the way that they brought out that graphic style when Sora kind of, when he went from the Kingdom Hearts 2 CG cutscene and then burst out as rendered version of Sora. I think I cried a little at just how beautiful that looked, because it was so smooth and he looks just, I don't judge games on graphics that often, but my God, did that look so crisp, so clean, and he looked so good for the model.
Yeah, just going back to gameplay, they said they want to use the KH1 and KH2 style, but adopt some of the spin-off gameplay mechanics. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had the gameplay of KH2 with possibly the command deck.
I would not mind that, because I really enjoyed the command deck system for BBS. I thought it was very well thought out.
And when they got rid of it for Dream Drop Distance, I was really disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah, because the whole
command melding.
Command melding, exactly. I loved that. That was so useful.
I think the PS4 abridged video that came out said it perfectly. I'm a fully grown man. Why do I want to play this so much?
Pretty much.
And it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, fair play to them. If it gets it to more people, I'm not fussed. I'm going to get it on PS4, lol.
Yeah.
Don't care about the Xbox One version, but fair play to them.
Yeah, FF15's coming to Xbox
yes,
One
it
as
is,
well.
yeah.
But, DRM, other things, can't transfer 360 games to it. Fuck it, I don't care. Who gives a shit? Take a look at the sales for FF15 and KH3 on the Xbox One and tell me which one sells better. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But in short, KH3 is alive.
It exists!
It exists. That's what we talk about when we talk about E3 surprises. I expected there to be some form of KH at the conference, but not Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
I think the reactions from everyone are like pure, raw, just surprise and joy.
Just pure emotion.
Pretty much.
Even with all the polygons in the world, me and Quantic Dream could not have rendered the happiness in that room. And after that, the conference kind of dipped a bit. Because let's be honest, what was going to top FF15 and KH3?
Yeah, FF just started that off. And then suddenly, Disney, Square, Kingdom Hearts, fuck. Like,
that was a hell of a 1-2 punch.
There's a point where they top it, but we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah, so I'm just going to skim through the rest of the points here. FF14 coming to PS4. That's the MMO, which has been retooled, redesigned.
I'm playing it at the minute. I'm in the beta test and was surprised at how much it's improved from version 1. Because I didn't think it would work for consoles, but the beta test phase they're in now is the PS3 and PC version. Surprisingly good. Plus, whatever happens in the PS3 version, you will be able to carry over to the PS4, supposedly. So that's always good.
Nice. They showed Assassin's Creed 4, which glitched and basically shat itself. I felt sorry for the guy demoing it.
He just stared at the controller going, what the fuck is going on?
Watch Dogs was shown again. I'm getting a bit burnt out on it, but there was exclusive content for the either PS3 or PS4 version. I wasn't really paying attention. Again, post KH3 fatigue at that point. NBA 14, Elder Scrolls Online. There's an exclusive beta. Mad Max revealed. At first, I thought it was going to be Fallout 4.
That's what we all thought on the live
But
cast.
we were just like, oh god, it's for... Oh, wait, no.
And the whole lull that followed KH3 kind of evaporated at this point. This is where Sony showed they weren't fucking around, and they've pretty much got Microsoft by the balls. When that slide went up on screen, the theatre fucking erupted.
Oh, yeah.
And that slide said, PS4 supports used games.
They just, I swear, the shit-eating grin on Jack Tretton's face said everything. He fucking knew he had them. And just...
Sony knows how to troll, ladies and gentlemen.
Sony knows how to treat their customers. That's what Sony knows how to do.
They do nowadays. It's such a change of pace from Sony of the 2006 era. I mean, there's a slight bit of arrogance there, sure. Because they're dealing with the most powerful console that will be out in the market when it's released. But that was so refreshing. They came out and said it. Microsoft didn't, because they knew they had no way to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just that slide was just one of so many kicks to the face for Microsoft's downed,
Let me read the rest of it. PS4 supports used games. No internet connection required. PS Plus carries over.
Supports used games, always a win straight away. The fact it doesn't require that internet check, as you know, the fact it exists is just stupid in the first place. And they specifically said at the Microsoft conference, you have to pay for a new Xbox Live for your one. Whereas with the PS Plus system, any time you've got left and you purchase the PS4, you've got it. Plus, I believe, if I've got a note here, I'm just trying to remember how many games it was, you get a bunch of free indie titles as well when you access PS Plus on the PS4. So they've got so much going for it, and it's less than $5 a month for all this. So
that was the one negative point, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up and give a bit of balance. Whereas it was free before, for the most part, it is now $5 a month.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit miffed because I do like my free PSN, but honestly, for all that content I'm going to get, I really don't mind, to be honest. And, of course, the other thing that wasn't really mentioned, but has been confirmed, it's region-free, which is even better. So, and I think the rumours floating around about the PS Plus being required for multiplayer games, I think that's been quelled as well. I think it's just for ones you bought with the PS Plus. So, like I say, it's just win-win-win for Sony right now.
Yep, Destiny was shown, that open-world shooter by, I think it was Bungie?
Yes, yeah, Bungie have announced that they've got a nice partnership with Sony going on.
Looks nice. Surprised it wasn't shown off at the Microsoft conference. Probably won't be playing it. There was the whole Gakkai PS3 streaming thing via the cloud for PS4.
Oh, yes.
Which is
yeah.
a decent way of getting around the backwards compatibility thing. Because if you put backwards compatibility in, it's just going to up the price. Which leads me to the next point.
That segue.
Which, again, is a massive kick in the balls for Microsoft. The PS4 will retail at $400 and £350.
€399 again, but, it's 100, whatever it is, up on Microsoft. So, they just wrecked that. Anything to do with Xbox One when they brought that up. And like I say, the room was on their feet at this point. They were chanting Sony's name. Like, there was a mob of just Sony, Sony. And it was just like, you won. Like, just get off the stage. You don't need to say anything more. We want you right now. It's just, they could not have done a better job of, one-upping Microsoft. Honestly, they had no chance.
One-upped on every level. I mean, they did everything right, really.
The only negative part of the conference was probably when they started talking about, Netflix and so on. But they're going to have to do that at some point.
The social shit, but it's what people want, so apparently.
Just also like to point out before we give a ranking for this conference, there was a video released shortly afterwards on how to deal with used games.
Oh, how to share used games. That video, for those of you who haven't seen it, do a quick YouTube search for how to share games on a PS4. But essentially it is, I can't remember the two people that are in it, but it's them saying, step 1, share the game and passing it over to the next guy and then saying thanks. Video cut.
That is Sony knowing how to troll.
That is Sony going, oh yeah, you thought we'd already kicked your face in. Here, have some, have some tar poured on your body. Why not? It's just, it's salt in the wounds,
And you know what? Since we're dealing with 0.5s in this ranking system, I'm going to go with 4.5. The only thing that let it down was the little lull after KH3 and, the whole social media and film talk. That's not for me, so I'm not going to give them too much shit over that, but very enjoyable conference. Out of all of them, including the one we've yet to discuss, I would say I enjoyed it the most.
I can agree with that completely. 4.5 for me, yeah.
4.5. One thing we neglected to mention was that their conference actually started a good 20-25 minutes late, but I think they more than made up for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said they had some sort of tech issues and things like that, but just don't even care. That was totally worth it.